Hi, I'm Andrew.
And I'm Dave, and we're the IB English guys. Today we want to talk about the IO outline, the individual oral outline, and why it's useful and why it's so important. Andrew, let's talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, let's do that. Of course, every student who conducts an IO has an opportunity to create an outline with up to 10 bullet points. This is meant to trigger your mind to help you discuss the key elements of your IO with your teacher. This is not meant to be an entire script written out, Mr. Giles, to read and deliver, correct?
The IO has been a little bit vague in terms of the rules and regulations, but we need to make sure that when we write our outline, we're in the spirit of what we're supposed to do. 10 bullet points, they make that very clear. It's not meant to be a script. It is not a script. It should be one page. I think all teachers would agree. It should fit on one page. It should be really minimum word count, maximum 200 words, somewhere between 150 and 200 words.
Yeah.
That's appropriate.
Mr. Giles, I have to say, I've had many students over the last couple of years ask me, Mr. Cohen, how long can my bullet point be? You know what I tell them? It's a bullet point, man. Everybody knows what a bullet point is. Stay within the system, be moral, be ethical. Don't try to game the system. That's not what we're doing here. We're just trying to provide a few triggers to help us share our insight about a topic that I chose that I'm passionate about with my teacher. Don't game the system, guys. That's not what we're trying to do here.
That's right. The IB has an outline form. It's very simple. It's some boxes that we want to fill in. We want to use the outline and have, like Mr. Cohen said, we want to have the outline help us trigger and help remind us of the key talking points for our particular
Exactly.
oral.
What do you say we look at a couple samples and just show them to the students and we can talk about what we notice? How's
Love
that?
it. And these will be linked down below and you can have a look so that you can write your outline. The first box we want to fill is the global issue. This you can write out as a sentence. I think this is the most important part of the entire IO. Make sure it's written on your outline.
Yeah, I agree. Definitely go back and watch some of those global issue videos that we put out before. You want to have a clear, concise global issue. It's complex but not convoluted, and it includes a repeatable phrase. Okay, what else do you notice about this outline?
Yeah, the next thing we want to list is our two texts. We have our literary work, our non-literary work. We have the publishing date, the author. We've got the title right. Again, this outline is for you, but it's also for your teacher. It's not a factor in the grade, but it's helpful to have those two things covered.
Yeah, looking at this, go ahead.
Go. And then we have the bullet points.
Yeah, and in looking at this particular sample here, I see 4 bullet points on the top. I see a dividing line, then I see 5, and then I see 1 at the bottom. So it looks like this student has decided, look, I'm going to take 4 bullet points, put them into the literary. I'm going to take 5, put in the non-literary, but I do want to save 1 bullet point back because there's some things in my conclusion that I don't want to forget about. Good plan.
It's a great plan. And you notice you've also heard us talk a lot about different structure, talking about how to structure your IO. So your bullets are going to be structured. The first 2 bullet points are looking at the extract, looking at the beginning of the extract and some of the details that are there. And then the next 2 bullet points are looking at the work as a whole. That's very clear to me when I look at that. I also notice that in the outline, you have literary elements, literary features that are listed there that the student's going to talk about. Very smart, because we want to make sure that we are talking about the features of our extract and the features of the work as a whole. Very important.
Yeah, very important indeed. And then we see that dividing line, and we look down and we see the 5 bullet points for the non-literary. Again, it looks like they're going to be talking about sound, which is very smart. The student has chosen a film clip, so they're thinking about diegetic and non-diegetic sound. And then it looks like they're looking at close-up, blur, and lighting, so then they're looking at the visual aspect as well. As a multimodal text, very clever that the student is going to pick up those multiple modes through the analysis of the extract. And then it looks like the last 3 bullet points, Giles, that's the zoom out where they're talking about the wider body of work and talking about how that global issue is pervasive throughout the wider body.
They've got some timestamps there. You don't want to memorize timestamps, so they have them on their outline. There's things that you don't want to memorize, you don't want to have to remember on the day, so you've got them in your outline.
Most importantly, I look at this, there's no way a kid's reading this to me during the IO. This kid's going to talk to me, and I love that because we want to be engaged. We don't want to be looking across at a robot. That's not within the spirit of the assessment.
Yeah, that's absolutely right. So the second outline is similar. We have a clear global issue, again, about stereotypes and female empowerment. But we also have the literary works, Doll's House by Henrik Ibsen, and we have a non-literary text that's a cartoon by Liza Donnelly. Very clear, very easy to read.
Now, this one, looking at it holistically, the first time I looked at this, I said, Mr. Giles, where's the 10th bullet point? And you said to me,
This student didn't need 10. They just were like, 9's good enough. This is what I have. And again, they're the spirit of it. It fits on a page and it works. And I like the way it's actually formatted with the different boxes. This is, again, a choice by the student, no problem. Again, the first bullet point is looking holistically, thinking about the field of inquiry. That's fine. And then we have, again, similar to the previous one, the structure of the bullets is the structure of the IO itself. The first couple bullet points are the extract itself. They have actually nuggets of language that are listed there, features that are listed there. I could almost take this outline and start talking about her extract if I had the extract.
Yeah, and Mr. Giles, I would argue that because this student has included line numbers, you could probably even deliver the student's individual oral because you know exactly where to look. That's nice because remember, you can't bring in a highlighted extract. So rather than sort of searching for language, this student's triggering, hey, I need to look at line 3, line 18, I need to look at 3, 4, 18, 19, 20, 23, right? So this student is really kind of giving themselves a roadmap so the examiner and the teacher can understand. Let's keep looking down. What else do you notice?
Well, we want to also remember that when we talk about the work as a whole, we don't have the work as a whole in front of us. So we want to put things in our outline from the work as a whole that we can remember, and that's what the student's done as well. So I think that's smart because the extract's in front of you. You don't have to necessarily quote that, but you might want to have a short little detail from the work as a whole that you want to remind yourself. So we have that.
Yeah, moving over to the non-literary, it looks like that happens in about bullet point number 6. And this time I know we're talking about posture. We're looking at elements of political cartoons. And we see facial expressions, we see the gaze, we see many visual elements. And then it looks like they zoom out into the wider body of work, the greater work of Liza Donnelly. And I estimate from looking at this, they're probably looking at 2, maybe 3 other political cartoons. As we said before, they got to bullet point 9. I don't see anything for the conclusion, but that student who I know, that student was ready to deliver a conclusion. She didn't need any bullet points for that.
Yeah, that's right. So in short, you have to write the outline for your IO that works for you. Make it work for you. Have those trigger words and those cues that help remind you of what you want to talk about. This will alleviate a lot of anxiety. You can look down at your outline and say, oh, I need to talk about this particular reference. And so again, this anchors you in what you need to do.
Just remember, it's not your script. These are the bullet points and the triggers to help you deliver content that you have deeply internalized and know and understand, right? We don't need to rehearse and memorize something. I own this content. I'm going to tell you, my teacher, what I've learned about my text.
That's right. So write a good outline, practice with your outline, give your outline to your teacher in advance, and good luck with your IO. I think you'll do great.
Yeah, folks, in closing, we hope it's helpful. Stay with the channel. Don't forget, we have lots of support for all components. Stay with us, and we'll catch you next time. Bye, guys.
Thanks, guys.